Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jeffrey Schultz and I am a master's student attending Concordia University, Chicago, studying computer science. In this video, we're going to be going over an introduction to Bash, some basics of it, what it is, why we learn it, some common commands that you can do using it. And I will also be giving a demonstration of all of those. So what is Bash? Why learn Bash scripting? Bash stands for Born Again Shell, yes, like Jason Bourne. And it is a Unix shell and command language. It's used for scripting, and it's the default shell on many Linux systems for Ubuntu, macOS, pretty much anything you can imagine. It is very widely adopted and well known in DevOps, automation, system administration, areas in computer science like those. So learning Bash scripting empowers users to do many things because it has a lot of power and the capabilities are wide. You can automate repetitive tasks like backups, file manipulation, installing any software, controlling any system utilities with logic and flow control, and you can build powerful scripts for literally anything you could possibly imagine. So Bash script creation and execution. So Bash scripts are simply text files containing a sequence of commands and logic in Bash syntax. And if you watch my previous series on Linux, which I have up on my channel, some of these commands are going to look very similar because actually the syntax, the commands are actually the same as the regular Linux commands that we had gone over in some of those videos, which you will see soon. To create a Bash script, you're going to use any text editor. The most popular one by far is Nano, and if you want to use Pico, it's another command I had gone over in my previous Linux series. Nano or Pico uses Nano in the background, but you can use V. You could use really VS Code, which is a bit of a stretch, but you could do it if you wanted to. And you save these with the .h extension. So whatever the script name is, like you see there, script name .sh. To make it executable, you use the change mode command, and that is another command that we had gone over in my previous Linux series. So change mode plus X, and X stands for executable. So it gives whoever the execute permission with the file name script name.sh, and that's it. And then to be able to run the script, you use / with whatever the name of the file is, script name.sh, so whatever you name it to execute it in the current shell environment. So now I will be demonstrating the following Bash scripting concepts, and these are really basic. I know it looks like a lot, but they're not that difficult. We're going to be going over them now, and like I said, they use a lot of the Linux commands that I had gone over in my previous series. There are some new things that we will be going over, but some of it should definitely look familiar. So it's hello world, variables, passing arguments, arrays, basic operators and string operations, decision making, loops, comparing arrays, and some shell functions. So I will now go to the terminal to be demonstrating all 10 of these. So I will see you guys there. Let's actually implement and practice the commands or concepts we just discussed. So the first one was hello world. So we're going to type in to create a file in Bash scripting. We're going to type in Nano, which is the text editor that we're going to be using. Like I said, you can use Pico too if you want to, like this. But again, Pico runs on Nano in the background. Nano is the most popular for this, so it's best to use Nano for this. So we're going to type in nano hello.sh. So what I think is really important, because sometimes you have really long scripting files and you want to add comments to them, it's really important to add comments. So the way to do this is you just do a hashtag with the no spaces here. So we're just having file name, something like this, hello.sh. And the one line, this is something you're going to want to memorize. Be sure to take note of this because you have to add this line that I'm about to type at the beginning of every scripting file. Like I said, this one you don't have to do. This is just if you want to add a comment. Like I said, it's really important to sometimes if you have a really long one. This is how you would add a comment. It's just hashtag and whatever you want to type, but with no spaces. But this line I'm about to type is really important. You're going to want to memorize this. So it's hashtag !bin /bash, just like that. So once you get on with that, you can go on with your scripting. So the way we can do this, we're going to type out hello world. So we're going to use a command called echo, and this is a Linux command. So if you did not watch my previous series on Linux, please do that because some of those commands are going to come up again in this series and in this video. And on my next video, which is we're going to be doing some real world challenges using Bash, that are a little bit more complicated than this. So the way we do this is we're going to do echo with quotation marks, and be sure to put quotation marks beginning and end because a lot of people forget to do this. And if you don't do this, it's going to be an error. So we're just going to type in hello world, just like this, exclamation point. So Control X to save it. If it's going to ask if we want to save, hit Y for yes, and hit enter. So something that a lot of mistakes that people make, and this is also something really important, so be sure to pay attention to this. You're going to want to write your code, save it, and run it, right? That's just how it works. But with scripting, it's a little bit different. We're going to use another Linux command that I also previously discussed in my Linux series. It's called change mode plus, so it's just chmod plus X. And you're wondering, what does plus X mean? Well, X means execute permission. So enable to run this file, it needs to be executable. So this is the way we go about doing this. Change mode plus X with the file name. So hello.sh. So now that we've done this, we can run it. So the way we run files in bash scripting, we went over it, /hello.sh. And as you can see, there's hello world. So be sure to, like I said, be sure to include that first line. This one, they call it a shebang. This first line right there, we have to add this at the beginning of every scripting file. Be sure to add this. This is something you're going to want to memorize. It's really important to also make sure to do this change mode. A lot of people forget to do this, understandably, because you write your code, you save it, you want to run it. Be sure to add the execute permission before you run it, or else it will not work. It'll be an access denied permission. And be sure to also use the full file name when you're executing. Don't just type in something like this, /hello. This will not work. You have to have the full file name when you do it. So moving on to the next one, we're going to clear our screen. We're going to go on to the next one, which is variables. So the same way, we create a file, and it's going to be the same process for all of these. It's going to be nano to create a file. We're going to write the code. We're going to save the code. Change mode, we're going to add the execute permission and run it. There's going to be a few files that I want you to pay attention to, because there's going to be running an actual file is going to be the same syntax, but there's times we're going to want to add a few things, and you're going to see that very soon. So the way we're going to do this, variables, nano variables.sh. Do the same 2 lines, file name. You don't have, like I said, you don't have to do this one. No spaces. The one you have to add at the beginning of every one is this one right here. Hashtag exclamation point /bin /bash. And then we can get on with our scripting. So the way we do variables is pretty interesting in bash scripting, because you cannot have any spaces. So I'm just going to make a variable with my name, Jeffrey. Because a lot of people, even I do this all the time. I do this naturally just for readability purposes. But in bash scripting, that does not work. You want to have absolutely no spaces here. It is very, very, very important to do this. So the next thing we're going to do is echo hello. It's going to say my name is. And the way we call a variable, we said, well, we have a variable now. How do we actually use it? How do we call it? So we're going to just do $sign with the variable, with the name of the variable, which is quite literally called name. So we're going to do something like this. And this should just print out, hello, my name is Jeffrey, because it's calling the name, which is really important to do. And do not forget to add quotations also around the echo and the actual variable, because if you do something like this is going to be an error. You have to have quotes around it. It is absolutely essential to have quotes around it, or else you will get a syntax error. It has to look exactly like this. No spaces in your variable with quotation marks around the actual, with the variable, with the value of it is, and all around all of your echoes. And be sure to use a $sign when you are calling a variable. It is extremely important. It is just how the language works, or else you will get an error. It will not print out the way you want it to. So save it, Control X, hit Y, hit Enter. Add the execute permission to the file name. So change mode plus X variables.sh. And now we run it. Variables.sh. And there it is. Hello, my name is Jeffrey. Just like that. So moving on to the next one. Passing arguments to a script. So we're going to do the same thing. Nano, we're going to call it just args.sh. So we're going to do the same 2 lines. File name, args.sh. Same one. Hashtag exclamation point /bin /bash. And we can get on to scripting. So echo. We're going to type in quotes. Remember, quotes around these first argument. And I will explain this in a second, because I know it just looks like I'm typing $1 right now, but I mean, technically it says that, but that is not what it means. And then 2. So what this actually means, if you remember, we just said the way to call variables is with the $sign. So, and I know it looks like $1 and $2, but it's actually calling this, and the first argument is going to be the number 1 and 2. It's not actually number 1 and 2. Whatever we type in 1 for this is going to be the $sign with whatever we type in on the command line. So you're going to see that right there. So Control X, save the file, change mode again, add the execute permission to it. So what we do now, we're going to run it just like this. But after this, because we are adding 2 command line arguments, and we're passing them to the script, we're just going to type in 2 words. We're going to type in hello world, just like this. And as you can see, first argument using the variable that we typed in the command line. First argument is hello, second argument is world. So be sure to not forget to put the dollar sign, like I said, around all the variables. It's really important to do that. It's not actually typing out $1 and $2 in this because we're using a command line argument. So it's just going to take the ones we type in the command line and put them in the first argument and second argument. So that's what the 1 and 2 means. And be sure to understand that the dollar sign is a variable name. Like I said, I cannot emphasize that enough. You need to do that for any variable that you call, whether it be on the command line, whether it be in the script, however you do it, it has to be that. So moving on to the next one, which is going to be arrays. So nano again, arrays. We're going to call it arrays.sh. Same 2 lines, file name. And then the one we have to do, hashtag exclamation point, \bin, \bash, non-descripting. So the way we do arrays is something like this. I'm just going to call it sports. And again, no spaces. A lot of people might do something like this. Understandable. That's how you usually do arrays in programming. But in bash scripting, you have to use parentheses. So we're going to do something like this. We're going to type in basketball, football. Ooh, didn't mean to do that. And then baseball. Something like this. So I want to point out a few really important things. The first one is obviously you use parentheses and not square brackets. The second one is this. You can do something like this. This is going to print out, you can put a bunch of space, much space as you want. This is going to print out the exact same as this is. But the minute you put these two next to each other like this with no spaces, what this is going to do, it's going to print out basketball, football is one word. We obviously do not want that. So we got to put a space between it, because if we do something like this, or even something like this would print out basketball, football, baseball, all combined, no spaces, no anything. So that is really important to make sure we have a space. Like I said, you can put as many spaces as you want. But obviously for readability, it's best to just do this one. Because if you do something like this, like I said, if you combine them, it's going to print it together. It is going to combine it. So what we do, we're going to use echo again. So we're going to say first, the first sport is colon. And then we're going to call a variable name, obviously, but this is a little bit different. So because it's an array and we're calling a value out of an array, we're going to use curly brackets. We're going to type in the name of the array, which is sports, and then now we're going to be able to use square brackets because we're calling a number, whatever number element we are. So the first one, don't forget, all counting in computer science starts with the number 0. So it's actually going to be the first element of this array. Don't forget to close out the curly brackets and the quotation marks. Really important to do that. So it's actually just saying call a variable name of this array and of the first value, essentially. So it should print out the first sport is basketball. So we're going to save it, hit yes, change mode, add the execute permission to the file, arrays.sh, and then we're going to be able to run it, arrays.sh, and there it is. The first sport is basketball, just like this. So it's really important to use the parentheses, like I said. Be sure to know to use the curly brackets when you're calling an element out of an array, and be sure to use the square brackets for when you're actually calling the number, whatever number element. So if you wanted to call the second element, you would use square brackets with the number 1, because like I said, all counting in computer science starts with 0. So the first element is 0, the second element is 1, the third element is 2, so on and so forth. So it's really important to do that. But when you're declaring it in an actual scripting file, be sure to use parentheses. So on to the next topic we go, which is going to be basic operators. So we're going to do nano operators.sh, create the file, same way, file name. I'm just going to call it, type in operators.sh, and then the one we have to do, hashtag exclamation point, \bin, \bash, on to scripting. So the first variable we're going to do is called a, and again, no spaces, so a is going to be 15, b is 10. So we're going to do echo $a, so this is really just calling variable a, so it's just 15 plus $b. And this is okay to do with the spaces. You just said no spaces. You can do this technically, but it's going to be, you can do normal readability with this. But what's going to be important is when we do something like this. We're going to do $, we're going to concatenate them, so we're going to add them together. We're going to do, so this first set is going to be for the variable, put the parentheses, but there's going to be a second set of parentheses, something like this, for when we're actually adding them. And this is when it is important to do no spaces, because if we do this, this is an actual scripting algorithm. A plus B is just an addition. If we do spaces here, the algorithm is not going to work. When you're doing an echo like this, it's fine to have readability. But when you're doing something like this, when you're actually adding the two numbers together, no spaces, just like we're doing for the variable name. So when we're actually implementing something in a bash script that we need to like add or like see in front of us like this, 15 plus 10, no spaces. Same with variables, same with any commands, no spaces. So save the file, add the permission, change mode plus X, operators, .sh, then run it, operators, .sh, and there you go, 15 plus 10 equals 25. So that is that one. So on to the next one, clear our screen. We are going to do another nano, and this is going to be for string operations, string ops.sh. So I already have the code ready here for this one because I was working with this one. So we're going to do the same 2 lines, file name string operations sh, \bin \batch, because this is really just the same thing. The one line I want to go over is this one right here, this last one. So string, and string 2 is going to be hello world. So concatenated, it's just going to be $string, so hello. It's going to print out hello world. And for the length, it's just going to take, the way we do the length is the variable name of what hashtag whatever variable we want to do. So hello, it's going to take the length of hello, which should be 5. So let's save that again. I'm pretty sure let's make sure I have the execute permission on this. I'm pretty sure I do. If we go to string operations right there, you see execute, 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 so we don't have to do this, but just to make sure, we can just do this, something like this. And there it is. We have the execute for all of them. So let's clear our screen just for readability, and then we're going to be able to run it. String ops.sh. So there you go. Concatenated is hello world, and the length of hello, because we just took the length of the first one, it's 5. So that is that. So let us move on to the next one, called decision blocks. So what we're going to be doing for this is we're going to type in nano. We're going to do decision.sh, same thing, same 2 lines, file name, decision.sh, and then hashtag exclamation point, \bin \bash, just like this. So what we're going to do something called read minus p. So what this actually does is basically it's going to say, there's a command called read. So what read minus p does, we're going to type in enter a number, space, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to type in num, so number, or just num. Let's just do num, that's easier. So what this is basically the equivalent of is doing something like this. So we're going to say, like if we were to say echo enter a number, and then read num. So this is really, this line read minus p is the exact same thing as doing this. But obviously one line is more efficient, so we're going to just do it that way. So what we're going to do, obviously it is actually backwards, and what do I mean by that? Well, arrays usually use what? Square brackets, but they use parentheses. If statements in programming usually use parentheses. But here, guess what? They use square brackets. So it is actually backwards. Put a space. We're going to say if. We're going to just put quote $num. We're going to say minus GT, and this stands for greater than 10. We're going to say colon. Then we're going to put an indent. We're going to say echo greater than 10. And then we're going to say else. We don't need to do square brackets for these. We're going to say echo less than 10. And then we're going to say fi. This is really important to add this. This means finish. So this just means we are closing out our decision block, and that is it. So now we're going to add the change mode permission to it, plus x decision .sh. That way we're going to run it. We're going to enter a number. Let's just say 12 greater than 10. Let's run it again. We're going to just say 5 less than 10. So it's working as expected. So it's clear to move on to the next one, which is going to be loops. Nano loops.sh. Let's make the file. Same 2 lines. File name loops.sh, and then hashtag exclamation point \bin \bash. And on to scripting. So let's just do a way to do a loop. We're going to do for I in range. So we're going to do in this range. We're going to do curly brackets for this. This is the syntax. Do 1 dot dot. It's 2 dots and whatever we want to end it at. So let's just do 10. So we're going to say for I in range 1 through 10. Do. We're going to indent it again. We're going to say echo quote number is going to be, and again, I is a variable because it's iterating through this loop. We're going to say number variable. We're going to do $I. Just like this. And we are going to say done. So for decision blocks, it is fee. For loops, it is done. It is the same concept. It just means we are closing it out. So let's save this. And be sure to add both of those, like the fee and the done. It is extremely important. A lot of people forget to do it. So let us add the change mode for it, plus x loops.sh. and then let us run it. I'm sorry, loops.sh, and there you go, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through 10. So just like that. So let's clear our screen and move on to the next one, which is going to be array comparison. So let's do nano array compare, and this one's a little bit tricky, so you want to do this one really slow. Same 2 lines, but it's not that tricky. It's just we're combining a lot of things that we just have learned in the last few demonstrations. Exclamation point \bin \bash, just like that. And on to scripting. So we're going to create 2 arrays, one called A, one called B. We're going to call the first one cat, dog, and bird, something like this. Close it out, no spaces, remember. And we're going to call the second one dog and fish, something like this. So what we can do now, we're going to create a for loop, just like this. We're going to call this variable item. We're going to say for item in quotation marks. You're going to call the $ using a variable. Curly brackets, because we're calling it out of an array. So we're going to say A, and the way to check through all of them is the @ symbol, just like this, like an ampersand, like you'd use in an email. So close this out. Then we're going to close the curly brackets, and then close the quotes. Put a colon. We're going to say do, and then we're going to put another for loop. So we're going to say for check in the same syntax, quotes, $, but we're going to check B this time. So curly brackets, B. We're going to check all the elements. So the @, close the square brackets, close the curly brackets, put a quote. We're going to say do, colon, do. Then we're going to say if, with the square brackets, we're going to say if, quotes, $ item, double equals. Make sure to do double equals, not just a single one, because this will be an error. Double equals. We're going to say if it equals to check, just like this. We're going to say then, indent again, echo, match found for our item, just like this. Then to close out the if statement, we're going to type in fee. To close out the first for loop, we're going to type in done. And then to close out the initial for loop, which is this one, we're going to type in done again. So this is it. Save this. We're going to add the change mode plus x array compare.sh. We are going to run it. As you can see, match found dog, just like that, because the dog overlapped in both of the arrays. So let's clear that and move on to the last concept, which is going to be shell functions. So we're going to do nano. We're just going to call it function.sh. Same 2 lines, file name, function.sh, and then we're going to say #! \bin \bash, and we can script. So we're going to call this function greet. Regular syntax, just like programming. So we're going to call greet 2 parentheses with the curly bracket. We're going to say echo hello $1. So this is, again, this is not $1. This is our argument. We're going to close this out, and we're going to say greet my name, Jeffrey. So this is our variable. So we're going to do this, save this, add the permission, change mode plus / function.sh, and we're going to run it. As you can see, there it is. Hello, Jeffrey. So that is it for the demonstration. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something new, and I will see you guys back in the slides now for a kind of an overview of what we just went over. Thank you very much. Okay, so what did we really just do or go over in this section, and what did we really just do in that demo? We're going to be kind of going over everything in a consolidated manner here. So key takeaways from this section. So Bash is a powerful shell and scripting language. Like I said, it's commonly used in Linux and macOS systems, but you can use it in Windows, obviously, for Ubuntu if you have that. It's really just a scripting language that allows you to control system operations, automate tasks, and do anything of the likes. So creating and running a script involves writing bash code in a .sh extension file, making it executable with chmod, change mode, chmod plus x, and you run it with /scriptname.sh, so whatever the file name is. So in the demo, you just learned how to display output using echo. You learned how to use variables and pass arguments to scripts. You learned how to create and iterate through arrays, perform basic math and string operations, use control structures like if statements and loops, and you were able to learn how to use reusable functions for cleaner code. That's going to do it for this video. I hope you learned something new. I hope you enjoyed. So be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel, and have a great day.